Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. So let's start with Bitcoin. First off, I want to say sorry I didn't record a video yesterday. I was just out and about, and I kept you updated over there on X. But let's have a look at what's been going on. Green candles. Does anyone remember what this feels like? I certainly had forgotten, at least somewhat. Actually, is my mic recording? Yep, cool. Just wanted to check that. But a nice bullish engulfing candle after making a higher low there for Bitcoin. And if we come down to like lower time frames, there's definitely arguments to say like bullish divergences, like even on the hourly look. If you just have a little look at the RSI here, lower low and higher low in price. A lot of good indicators here saying that like short-term bottom could be in on this move. Obviously, nothing's yet confirmed. Hating a few altcoins right now, as you guys probably can understand. Like I tweeted about Litecoin here. We got the perfect entry on Litecoin that we actually tweeted about back here. I was like, look, let's have a look at this Litecoin entry. Some of you might have taken this. I retweeted yesterday to say, look, the Litecoin entry is looking nice so far. Came down, got the literally perfect fill. If that is the bottom for Litecoin, I'm not saying it is. Too early to tell, but I'm just saying, like, look, if that is the entry, fantastic to anyone who did take that. I actually, pros and cons, I did fade the Zcash trade, which actually pulled back quite heavily. Has come into the area that I did say that I would could be support, which is this area here. It's quite a large area, but it's the last real like structure change before our next leg up. It's come down, it has tested that. So if you want to add to Zcash, potentially a thought process there. Although I did see some correlation yesterday that when Zcash comes down, the market has been pumping, and when Zcash goes up, the market takes a step back. But frustratingly for me, I moved my bids into ENA. I bid just here at 21.55. I think I bid that somewhere in this sort of period, or maybe or maybe here. We didn't quite. I thought we were going to get the low sweep of this wick essentially, and I wanted that to fill us. And I also looked back. I was like, look into this this like area here, this cluster of demand here. So we didn't get it yet. We got a higher low, and ENA looks pretty decent, bouncing quite strong the last 2 days. Decent bullish engulfing candle, supported by volume, take us down to lower time frames on ENA as well. Big bullish divergences coming in, much lower low on the RSI, high low on price. Like, there's a very decent argument to say the lows here could be in for crypto, especially when we go to look at like the short-term lows. And I think obviously, not like the rest of the market, I've been saying I think we go to all-time highs. We can get into that in a minute. I'm not saying we're going to blast straight to all-time highs from here, but I also think that that's not out of the question. Everyone's almost saying that that's an impossibility, and for that reason, I don't think that's out of the question. Bitcoin hourly liquidity, we do have some liquidity above us, about 95k. We have a little bit more up at 100k, and then higher than that, 111, 114. And if we take us to the daily, it will show you a bit of a clearer picture here. We did obviously come deeper than where I did expect. I said, look, this was the major support area, remember? I said this was the most likely area for reversal. We did have that. I do like that bottoming structure, man. I do like it when we form a low, form a higher low, bullish divergence is exactly what I've been looking for. I've been telling you guys that is exactly what I've been looking for. So let's see. Let's see if we continue to play out from here. But I like that structure at the bottom. And then look at all this liquidity that we've got above us. It's deep liquidity at 130k, more at 141. Liquidity all the way to 154,000. Like, being honest, how long did it take for us to say, form this bottom? Yes, it was slightly lower low and then a grind higher. But when we form what could be a bottom, like let's say we've done something like this, how long did it take from this second low to put in a significant new high, and where the highs came in? We broke the previous all-time highs after 60 days, and then after 100 days, we were up 100% from the lows. I'm not saying we're going to repeat that. I'm using this just as a basis for discussion. 60 days would take us to like here. So end of Jan, we could be at all-time highs. And then if we go 100%, it would be crazy. Everyone would be like, what the fuck's going on? It'd be about 170k Bitcoin in about March sort of time. And like, guys, I can see that happening. And I know that it's the most unpopular and easy thing to get wrong here, because everyone, it feels like, is on the other side of the trade. So even just having the contrarian view makes you look so stupid, because if you're right, then everyone's going to be like, oh, you're right. But like, if you're wrong, everyone's going to be like, you're so stupid. Everyone could see that we weren't going to go to new all-time highs, blah, blah, blah. So it is difficult to have that stance at the minute. But I do still believe we take the liquidity above us. Said this the whole time. No part of me knows when, but statistically, we should just take this liquidity. And I also think that Bitcoin's going to finish the cycle above 150k. I said probably towards 180, 170 would be nice. That'd be right in my ballpark. I've given the discussion about Bitcoin dominance. Let's have a little look at that today. I haven't actually checked on that yet today. Bitcoin dominance is pretty flat. This is the hourly. Let's take to the daily. It's had a little bounce after losing this trend line. I talked about having how I thought we'd come down after losing the trend line. We've actually come to the start of the trend-ish. Looking to see what happens next with Bitcoin dominance. I do think we are going to enter at some point. I'm not saying it's now, because I do have the secondary discussion and thought in my head that's contrarian or contrary to this, which is where Bitcoin pushes up towards its new all-time high and sucks in liquidity to help it go there, and then we have the breakdown in Bitcoin dominance and maybe a pullback then from Bitcoin, and that's when the altcoins get the rotation that a lot of people don't believe is coming for altcoins, but I do. Something like this has happened every cycle, and I don't see why it wouldn't happen again this cycle. I understand the narratives around why other people don't think it's going to happen, but I don't believe those narratives. I think that I could argue the counter to most of the narratives, and I think that this cycle is going to be not like any others in some senses, and exactly the same or very similar in other senses. And I also believe that Bitcoin dominance comes down over time. I've always said that. I've never changed this stance. And as I say, like, this is just what I think. I explain why I think it. It doesn't mean I'm going to be right. But I do think Bitcoin dominance continues to break down over time forever. Because that has to happen if crypto is going to be a part of the financial system, in my opinion. Bitcoin's not used for anything. It's used for a store of value, and that's not nothing. It's a $30 trillion market relative to other asset classes. I'm talking about gold there specifically. But other asset classes are quadrillions of dollars. Derivatives, equities are hundreds of trillions. So I think Bitcoin could be not necessarily 100 trillion, but it could be $5-10 trillion asset. Doesn't mean that I don't think Bitcoin's going to go up. But then I would expect other cryptos, if Bitcoin got to say 5-10 trillion, say 10 trillion, I would expect some other cryptos. I don't know what. My bets are a lot on XRP, and there are others that probably don't even exist yet, haven't got the right adoption yet, that will outperform Bitcoin. They just will over time. They have to. Otherwise, we aren't integrating the technology. We're just using it as a speculative investment. And that's my thesis. It's whether you think that crypto is going to play a role in our financial system, and if the answer to that is yes, you should probably agree that Bitcoin dominance probably decreases over time. Those who don't think that are probably Bitcoin maximalists who got in early to Bitcoin, hold majority of Bitcoin, which so far, portfolio structure-wise, hasn't been a bad decision, but it doesn't mean that it will be the same for the future, and it isn't a technologist's outlook, in my opinion. It's a speculative investor's outlook, which again is fine. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions and invest the capital where they like. But I think over time it only makes sense for Bitcoin dominance to depreciate. Not saying that Bitcoin price won't rise, though. That isn't what I'm saying at all. Now, if we look on the weekly Bitcoin price action, quite nice weekly price action here, to be fair. We had this long wick down, so bulls actually fucking bought at this level. A bit of chop, and then a secondary push down to the lows. Again, bulls pushed up. Would like to see us close at least above like 94k here for Bitcoin weekly. That would be quite a nice sign that we're going to at least the 98. It's probably more towards 103k. That's where I'll be looking for there. Let's have a look at the monthly. Imagine how nice it'd be if we could retrace all the way back up to like 109k in the next 29 days. That would really put a lot of doubts in people's minds. And I think you'd quite quickly, if we have a bit of a bullish month of December, which I think is quite possible, as look at the RSI's cooled down to 50, still holding above there, which is still technically bullish, back into the major area of support, closing the fair value gaps. I think there's quite a good argument to say, look, we could push back up here. And then we get into a difficult discussion for everyone, because what everyone's going to say is, oh, I thought the top was in, but it looks like a fake out. Let's say something like this. Look. Oh, I thought the top was in, it looks like a fake out. What we've done is actually recovered and come back up with the trend line and caught a lot of people offside. A lot of people are deleveraged. They're going to have to make it a difficult decision as to whether they come back into the market or not. If we got a move like that, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it would be interesting if it did. The 3 days has been something that I've been very interested in recently, as I've discussed with you guys. The 3-day RSI actually touched the oversold area for the first time since pretty much the exact lows of the bear market. Sorry, don't know why that line's there. That's not what I was talking about. It's here. It was this area here. We've got it drawn out on Ethereum as well, and we can show you that in a minute, and I will do. But this area here showed you the last time the 3-day RSI moved into the oversold area. We've got that again now. Sentiment's in the gutter. Decent recovery so far. We put in 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th consecutive 3-day green candle, potentially with a potential bullish cross here coming from the oversold area. When's the last time we got a bullish cross from the oversold area? It was here. We did rally and then continue to break down, but from the lows to the absolute lows of the bear market, I've discussed this before, was only a further 11% there for Bitcoin. So from the lows here, another 11%. I'm not saying we make this move, but I'm saying, look, that would be equivalent to the bear market lows if we made that sort of structural move. I'm not saying we're going to do that. I don't think we do. I think we probably get a bullish cross, see some strength. If I was going to draw like my ideal sort of structure path out of this zone, I would draw something like this. I think we'll probably come up to this area, maybe bounce here, maybe come down, have a little test there, come up again, down, test that support, up, and then something like that, off we go. And that's not obviously time-based, but I do think there's a potential for something like this. Just work these bottoms out. Said these bottoms, when they come, are hard to work out, and you're going to really shake people out. Would like to see the easier path for the bulls. We haven't seen that yet this cycle. Realistically, it's been quite difficult for bulls generally. I think ETH is very interesting here. ETH didn't quite hit the oversold area. The times when it have been like the best times to buy. It came back into the perfect major area of support. We've bounced from there. We've got potential for a bullish cross here on Ethereum. If we get that, the last time we got a bullish cross from this sort of area was in these levels. Significant price increase after these crosses. Have a look here. Boom. Even that one was like a 67. And then from this sort of lows that we've got now, like even from the lows to the highs, 200% move. I think we could see all-time highs come in for ETH, and I'll show you ETH on the daily liquidity chart as well to back that discussion up. We had the five-wave move to the upside. We've pretty much cleared out the daily liquidity. There is a little bit more below us at 2,000, but then looking above that towards all-time highs is where the densest liquidity that we've ever seen pretty much for Ethereum lies, all the way up to about like 5.8, the dense liquidity to about 5.6, and I think that after a bit of cooling off and such an aggressive impulsive move that took us from $1,400 to 4,800, 235% in the space of 137 days. What we've just then done is distributed a little bit at the top and now potentially formed a higher low, looking for continuation to the upside here. So let's see if there's any structure break in terms of this downtrend. I presume there is. Yeah, today would be that day. Could we get a perfect candle close outside of that downtrend? Potentially. Let's time to keep your eye on that. We're also watching for what XRP is doing here. XRP has been ranging a little bit around here as well. Everyone's calling for the dark days for XRP, which in my opinion is not true. There is liquidity at about 170 for XRP below us. We do have a bullish engulfing candle, but we would like to see some more strength come in here. But similar to ETH, similar to Bitcoin, there is a lot of liquidity sitting above us. We aren't yet breaking this downtrend, but it's something that we're keeping our eye on here for XRP. And just to like sum things up today, it's like I'm watching Velo as well. These price movements specifically for ETH is looking quite strong here. What we're seeing is open interest increases, price increases, basically a supportive move to the upside, essentially. One thing I would like to point out is that SUI has actually structurally looks like it could be leading here, and that could have just had an extra short squeeze higher, but structurally we have broken above these recent swing highs that have been acting as resistance. We consolidated there, broke above, we're coming down a little bit now after a bit of a flush of open interest. Let's see if we can back test that and then continue from there. But to finish the video, I just want to say that Flare Networks or Firelight has launched on Flare Networks today, and I'm going to deep dive into that on my own time now. I don't know if I'm going to record on it or not, but I'm going to be depositing and playing around with that as well. Just wanted to let you guys know that that product is out there now, so go and check that out if you're interested. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. As always, if you did, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with a friend. As always, nothing I say is financial advice, but if you want to trade in any non-KYC exchanges, check my links to WEX and MEXC in the description below. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.